Hi, I'm Black Angus, and I'm here to talk about A Quiet Place by John Krasinski. 2018's A Quiet Place is directed by John Krasinski, who is from The Office, which is a show I really love. It's been a great bonding tool for me and my wife. Uh, my son actually, when he's first born, the way we would calm him was with the Office theme song. So anything John Krasinski's done, I take note of. Loved him in 13 Hours. Definitely an underrated movie. Um, did not know he directed this movie. That was the biggest shock. Was the director title credit at the end? I'm like, wow. But that makes sense. I can't wait to see what he does going forward. He's someone, for better comparison, I put in with John Goodman as someone who just, even if they did a crappy movie or show or what have you, they themselves were not at fault for that. So yeah, quick little synopsis. Quiet Place is set in the near future, about 2020. Um, there's been these aliens that have come on Earth, and they have an acute sense of hearing. They're blind. They seem to be super armored, and clearly humanity has fallen victim to these creatures. So in 2020, meet this family of five who are silently struggling to survive. And I say silently, that's a key point, just like the title, A Quiet Place. Um, it's a movie that uses, that makes you pay attention visually the whole time. There's almost no dialogue for most of the movie. Um, and so you're very cognizant of any sound. It's not a silent film, it's a quiet film. Um, so you're very cognizant of any sound going on, and it after that establishing sequence of events, anytime you go see this movie, even if you're at home, you're going to be quiet. If it's your first viewing, for sure. The element of sound is its own conflict, enemy, if you will. That's just benign in its existence. It's just there. It just happens to afflict us. My notes here. One of the things I really liked about this movie, because I'm actually going to school and I'm taking a few science classes. The sensory, it reminds me of sharks. They're blind. Uh, they do make sounds themselves. It's kind of weird. They're armored apparently, but they like break up this armor to be able to fully hear and receive things with their ears. They're highly acute sense of hearing. They do lots of close-ups on the ears to like visually demonstrate like they're looking out for you, and it's building the tension of like, oh god, are they going to hear you breathing? Are they going to hear your heartbeat? And you're trying to be as fucking quiet as the actors. So yeah, the movie did really well after that first little bit long establishing sequence. You understand the environment and you're paying attention visually. So this movie was built to captivate its audience and have it pay attention. Um, yeah, the sensory reminds me of sharks. How you can drop a drop of blood in water and they can smell it from, I think it's either a mile to 5 miles away. That's how acute their smelling is in the water. Um, and also reminds me of shark electrosensory. I may be terming that incorrectly, but hammerheads have the best that they've tested. It's like the most minute of um, wattage. Don't know the term right now for detecting electricity in a natural body, but everything pulsing through us is electric, and a shark can sense that quite easily. And that's how these creatures in the movie work. It's scary, like the horror movie suggests. It also reminds me of Cosmos and some astronomy classes I've taken, talking about convergent evolution, and 'cause you would think, oh, besides Alien, we haven't really seen a sightless creature have such a devastating effect on the characters. That's actually grounded in science. Eyes are evolutionarily speaking, a very nuanced thing in biology. There's been sort of eye-like organs, but its sight isn't really a necessary perception to survive. And I think it's very interesting. And to build off that, talking back on the movie, one of the most interesting plot lines that no one's talking about on YouTube here is the daughter. I'm assuming the middle child. She needs a hearing aid to hear anything, and for almost the whole movie, the hearing aid is not working. The father keeps trying to fix it with radio parts, and that's a struggle for their relationship later on. Is that, oh, just quit it? Like, this doesn't work. Um, and her lack of hearing is actually very scary because that's really the last sense that we in this movie we've become handicapped by some of our adaptation, thus being a very vocal and noisy creature and very tribal. Um, Now we have to be as quiet as possible, um, and we have to listen. And for this girl, she can't even listen, so she's completely reliant on um, seeing everything because she's deaf and apparently mute. I'm assuming it's never quite clear if she is or not. Um, and that being the case, there's a scene where an alien's behind her, and if you hear it, if you're just like silently breathing and your heart's functioning, they don't really pick up on that. But she can't even hear them to be cognizant. What if she pulled out a knife or something, or just did an activity? That was a very tense scene. Cause it's like, oh God, because the movie starts out showing you how ballsy John Krasinski will be with his decision making. Um, Needless to say, a child dies in the movie, and like the witch, that sets the tone that death is really indiscriminate in this film, and that anyone is expendable. That a child is not protected. It's effective like Jurassic Park, where the velociraptors are about to get the kids in the kitchen. It has that same effect of anyone could die, and that makes it more scary. The biggest fear-mongering piece, I would say, is, especially if you're a parent, is just seeing the family dynamic. It's an effective movie like The Shining or 10 Cloverfield Lane in building a family-type unit that matters for the story. It's not just people who are stuck somewhere. These people that you invest in, that you see have some flesh on the bone as far as their environment and their setting. It's not just a creature feature. Sorry about that pause. Yeah, a very great element of this movie is the being a parent. One of the conflicts, besides just not being able to make sounds, is that Emily Blunt's character, John Krasinski's actual wife, is pregnant in the story, and you're near the due date. As a parent myself of two, my second child had colic pretty bad, so that's just incessant crying in between feedings and not sleeping as much. So it's just round the clock cranky baby that you're just hoping will sleep and be quiet for 5 minutes. And so that was at the forefront of my mind, and I didn't know where this movie was going to go. So that made it more tense for me because I'm thinking they have 3 kids with this fourth on the way. They know what babies are like. So that's an element that they're working on. They don't just brush over it. They're actually trying to soundproof a room to keep this baby, along with like essentially a baby soundproof coffin crib box thing that they've tried to soundproof. They have oxygen, I guess, to try to get it high to sleep. I'm not certain. But yeah, that was an element that really scared me for when she had the baby, because I'm thinking maybe they're going to cut its throat, like try to cut its vocal cords, and maybe we're going to have a Planet of the Apes type of evolution within this movie environment or universe, if there's sequels, which that would just ruin it, where we're having to evolve or devolve from being a vocal and noise making creature. So I thought that might be a forced type of maiming on the child to foresee, like, oh, we got to slash its vocal cords or something. That was something tense. They didn't go that way, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't use the baby for more of an obstacle in the story than they did. The only real complaints I have, really only one, is the similarity to 10 Cloverfield as far as the immediate ending. And in spoilers, immediate end, there's 3 times that the daughter, her hearing aid keeps malfunctioning. It puts out this frequency that this creature, it really disturbs them. It triggers them, for lack of better terms. And it's really something that irritates you. The second time it happens, it like runs like hell to get away from this. So you finally see this weakness that Krasinski's been trying to find this whole time. The second time it happens, first time it's just coincidence, and it's kind of a way to show the audience, like, haha, there is a weakness. And then the second time, they're in danger, and then they find Krasinski in this whole sequence. So you think this would come up. I would say you can argue that, sure, there's so much stress going on for these characters that the daughter, she seems about 13, isn't cognizant to put that together yet and be like, oh, hey, Dad, mess with your radios to make these high-pitched frequencies that disturb these creatures for some reason. Could be a new defense, maybe set up a sound barrier, like a dog whistle, essentially, something that maybe we can't perceive if we tune it right. So yeah, she's unaware of it. So then the third time, it's happening again, and then she figures it out finally. This is spoiler again. After Krasinski's character is dead, he self-sacrifices to save them. They're into the house, and the creature comes into the house where Krasinski's been working on his trying to get radio signals and her hearing aid. She finally figures out, oh, this awful noise corresponds with the creature going berserk and unfocused. So she sees that there's a what do you call it, like a little radio, like dispatch office you see on movies with cops, like dispatch. They press the button, the receiver. She puts the microphone in the receiver, and it pretty much distorts the creature's skull armor that opens up for its ears for some reason. And then it tries to attack, and then the mother shoots it in the face with the shotgun. And then on the cameras, they see the 2 other creatures that are confirmed in the area coming to attack. And the immediate end is the mother and daughter exchange looks after this horrific series of events of the father dying for self-sacrifice, them almost being killed, shooting it, being aware that 2 more are coming. And now she looks at the daughter and pumps her shotgun, and they're like, oh yeah, we got this now. And that tone change for the immediate end reminds me of 10 Cloverfield, how you have this really great dramatic buildup of events and, the decay of the mind, like The Shining or The Witch. And then all of a sudden you switch to this awful tone of sci-fi schlock because this is tied somehow to another movie. Now, as far as we know, Quiet Place isn't tied to anything, although theoretically J.J. Abrams could snag it and be a Cloverfield universe. That'd be interesting, but awful with his pause on it. And so, yeah, there's just that immediate tone at the end. I don't know, it definitely leaves you, if you like creatures being displayed like Alien for sure. There's little elements of how they show this creature. It's almost never a full view that you can like absorb. Like, this is the full might of the creature. It's never really anything like that. But yeah, overall, that's really my complaint, is that tone change with the immediate end sequence. Yeah, overall, I love this movie. Gonna buy it on Blu-ray. Definitely suggest you check it out. If you're interested in some of the little references I made about science that helped me appreciate this movie more, for how they displayed the creatures and humans both surviving, be sure to leave a comment or something, and I'll try to reply to you and send you some links to scientific research or what have you that I've come across in personal interest research or from school. If I have time, I'm going to try to chop this up a bit, just to make it more clean. Um, but yeah, if you're wondering where I'm at, I'm in my car. I work security, so I just have time to kill. Want to get my thoughts out there. I've been thinking about trying to do a YouTube channel for a long while, and finally put my mind to doing what I want. I like to thank world-class bullshitters who I've had a few responses from on Facebook, but listening to them, seeing how they're growing over the last 2 years, being part of that growth since December of 17 with their spoiler video. Definitely want to thank them for their unknown and indirect influence on myself trying to do this. I hope you all enjoy. Also, leave in the comments any tips, pointers, etc. for editing, for filming, because I'm just doing this on a cheap Walmart phone. Don't know how the sound quality will be yet. I hope you've enjoyed. Leave me any recommendations for future movies coming out, for movie rewards. Like, I use Regal and AMC stubs, collectibles, whatnot. I don't know where I'm going to be taking this channel, depending on how much time I have to put into it. But yeah, thank you.